Yeah, check it. Check it out, man. Welcome to Last Call Reacts, where I try to drop a video at least once a week, of something that intrigues me, something that's going on in the news, some of the sleuths, some of the good news, some news to make us aware of things as well. And this week is a little bit of a doozy, man. We're going in with the SPLC. And if you don't know what that is the Southern Poverty Law Center. And what this place is, man, it's a sort of to help lessen the gap of disenfranchisement. It's supposed to be a nonprofit organization, although they get many donations privately, and they publicly and privately are endowed as well. Have a fund, I believe, upwards of almost $700 million in that budget too. So they're supposed to be doing a lot of things for community. It's right in the title as well. I won't be able to do this justice unless I play a couple of clips with it. So here we go. Don't worry, I'll piece it all together. This has been going on for a while. And with all the reporting that people do, in the what do you call it? The community, the conscious community, they're not talking about stuff like this. When we talk about things that might be superficial or mean anything, they're not talking about things that really make a big difference like this, which is very interesting and very telling for me of a lot of things. But we'll get on that another day. Here we go.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. Welcome to all of our witnesses. For decades, the Southern Poverty Law Center shared information about racist terror plots with the FBI gleaned from their informant program. The FBI was happy to receive it, and this practice frequently led to the disruption of dangerous conspiracies by the KKK and neo-Nazi groups to commit violence against synagogues, churches, African Americans, Jews, and other targeted minorities. So why is the Department of Justice under Trump and Todd Blanche now prosecuting the Southern Poverty Law Center? The DOJ says that the SPLC defrauded its donors by paying undercover informants to infiltrate and collect intelligence on these racist groups.
Now you're going to hear that come up a little bit of what that money is intended for. When in fact, through the reading, I'm just going to circumvent some of the information while we're talking about this. The way that it presented is not the way that it actually is. So we have the idea of what we mean an informant, or what we know an informant to be. They're supposed to go in and infiltrate things, or maybe get some information and bring it back to a source. That's supposed to be like a Trojan horse, get that information to close the corruption and stuff like that. They're saying with this end that there's no means to the end in this one. For me to really kind of bring this case through, let me see if I could show you this. I don't know if you could see in the middle of your screen over there, that picture. That picture is of Annie Duquesne. We spoke about her before. What this lady, let me just go down here. What this lady is responsible for, working in the Hinton lab. There's another lab. This is in Massachusetts. I'll get the name of the lab, but it's a lab that works with DNA results, particularly DNA and other things that have to be brought through the lab to influence convictions, which is what she did. They're supposed to take any evidence to the lab, but to see which way it goes. Did they have DNA on it? Did they not have DNA, on the stuff, what have you, and then use that. I like to use this because it shows in these institutions that we blindly trust, or at least at one point, you think this is not an FBI organization. They send DNA here, whatever it says, we're going to get a truthful and accurate depiction of whatever happened through this DNA evidence. But when we have these idiot bimbos, well, not bimbos, she's smart in one way, like this, who's working in the lab to try to impress and get the convictions based on her work for over 10 years. The bottom line of that is that they have to throw all that junk away. All the hours work, all the cases, the court hours, the people that are concerned about, if there are people who think that certain minority groups weigh out the judicial system, how much money is this cost? If you really care about what your tax dollars are going for and conservative spending, and these are federal cases as well, where your federal dollars are going to, and you're not interested in this sort of stuff. But I'm going to get to another clip right here. Here we go.
You're alleging that the Southern Poverty Law Center was paying the leaders of KKK and other groups to continue their operations? Is that?
I'm not alleging it. The grand jury returned an indictment that says that Southern Poverty Law Center is raising money, asking folks to give them money to dismantle racism. And over a very long period of time, they were using some of the money they raised from donors to pay to, they call them field, basically to informants.
The Department of Justice has announced a grand jury indictment of these.
I know a lot of people don't like this lady. Just hang on. She puts this together. And there's another note that I got to make in about a second.
Southern Poverty Law Center on charges of fraud and money laundering. Now, when this story broke this morning, I was pretty shocked about it. And to be quite frank, given the players involved, I thought this seems like a politically motivated prosecution. However, as you read the details, this does seem real. And as with any case, innocent until proven guilty. But what's being claimed here would indeed be a crime. So let me get to the details on what allegedly happened. So apparently, according to acting Attorney General Todd Blanche, who hasn't been confirmed for the role, who also, by the way, secured a minimum security facility from a notorious groomer and rapist Ghislaine Maxwell, now says that the Southern Poverty Law Center paid informants to monitor racist organizations. Okay, paying informants isn't necessarily illegal, right? But there's more to it than that, allegedly. So a grand jury in Alabama, where SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, is based, handed down this indictment. So it's not like, oh, Todd Blanche unilaterally decided, I'm gonna prosecute these guys. There's no grand jury involved.
All right, she's gonna move it up here in just a little bit. Basically what we're saying here and what I wanted to tie that into, all these dollars and everything, there was no end game to have these people infiltrate these white supremacist group. It just shows that it's a funneling, no plan in sight, just a loop to funnel money through these hateful organizations. And there's a little bit more.
However, that could change as this hearing. Only the organization itself has been charged. No specific individuals have been named in this case.
All right. So this was a couple months ago. That has changed. And let me introduce you to this lovely lady. Seeing this, I'm going to tell you who she is in just a minute. If I didn't lose my thing here, which it looks like I did. And I'm saying Heidi Burrich, I believe is her name. All right, that is the new face of this whole case, basically, and what they're alleging that she did. I just moved. I'm sorry, I moved the wrong damn thing. All right, so she's a former employee of the Southern Poverty Law Center, but she has a higher title than that. All right, she's charged for doing the secret payments to the white supremacist groups of whom she was allegedly living with and had romantic relationships with at the time. All right, so this is, look up in the movies, these people are always kind of sexy. They would hire a Sandra Bullock or something like that, or Charlize Theron in that role. They got this broad. I'm gonna make you look at her too. So basically, she oversaw the payments of donor money, and like your friend over there, Anna Kasperins, I believe her name is, said it's not illegal to funnel the money to try to get some information as you were doing, and it does show that they retrieved some information. But on top of that, there was no end, there was no hook to the end of this plan. It was just to go and wait till you hear how much money. Actually, I'll just tell you how much money, into the millions. They fund to the Grand Wizard as well. All right. Let me see if I can move down. I'm just reading there in the background of any other information that I need. Despite her role in overseeing the payments, some of which were directed to the Imperial Wizard of the KKK, Burrich allegedly had romantic relationships with, one source confirmed, a white supremacy group, and stole documents for the SPLC, according for the indictment. So yes, did some little spy work over there, but at the same time, providing these guys what they need to keep their operations going. All right, that prosecutor say was paid over $1 million by SPLC since 2007, and $104,000 to put into the bank account of Bear Rich and the person that she shared the account with. So, all right, it's showing a whole bunch of other things as well, amongst other charges. So, this is where the big ones are, committing wire fraud and setting up shell names, and you can't say companies, not quite corporations, to put some of these funds under as well. So she's in just a whole bunch of stuff. And again, you put your faith in these groups. Obviously we're in their information age, and there's a whole lot more exposing of information, these things that people took for granted or maybe even slighted by, and maybe want to expose them that way. Now are able to get real information at this.
SPLC is a nonprofit entity that purports to fight white supremacy and racial hatred by reporting on extremist groups and conducting research to inform law enforcement groups with the goal of dismantling these groups. As the indictment describes, the SPLC was not dismantling these groups. It was instead manufacturing the extremism it purports to oppose by paying sources to stoke racial hatred.
It's like this dude doesn't even want to be speaking out against it or anything, but he is, and that's basically the point of it, that they are aiding the very thing that they're supposed to be fighting against. Now, for a lot of people, we're going to say that, we're not surprised, there's corruption and everything. It's just the way it is. And you got to assume some sort of level of corruption when you are dealing with these people. But these people are supposed to be distinguished and so far removed from that. And you would think that there's some sort of investigation that takes place, some sort of, umbrella separate company that oversees some, or at least does audits. What's all these audits? People with cameras stopping police and doing all this stuff. How come nobody's doing this stuff? This is the real stuff that matters. Anybody could do the lights, could stand out there and say that they're against this, that, the other. But these quiet things where Public Enemy says, now the KKK wears 3-piece suits. All right. The supremacist works right under your nose, where you give money to unlimited funds, because there's an endowment of a guaranteed amount of money that these organizations get for so-called helping the community, fighting disenfranchisement, helping minorities, the poor, the meek. Instead, it's not doing that. And I'm not as naive of, obviously, if you heard anything about the show or you heard any things about these videos, I'm not naive to think that there's something out there that's so righteous, and that even the Southern Poverty Law Center cannot be corrupt. There's no surprise there. There's no surprise in many things. I kind of make it my business a little bit to find stories like this and exposing it is a tough part of that too. There's a couple videos ago where I called the cop Serpico, who went against his department to be able to present all the corruption going on there as well. There's no application for that. You're really putting a lot on your shoulders. And this is with proof and how much adversity and how much blowback people are getting just to do the right thing, and exposed to the people that are ruining the system by being corrupt with it, by it, for it, doing it. So here's another one. What do? We want more auditors, people to audit things. It's going to come out of the public's money, pockets. Shit. But I don't know. Did you know this? Are we aware of this? Again, there's so many videos. I want to do the video on the basketball players, the new Nolan Wells video as well. There's another hanging, a black woman in Mississippi as well, that is looking very suspicious. And a whole bunch of other things going on in the news. I chose to do this one. Maybe we'll discuss the rest on Friday night on the podcast, 9 p.m. with my co-host, Joe the Chatavist. Tell me what you thought of this. What do we do in this case? There's no organization that's fighting for the common man. Everyone is corrupt as well. What do we do in this order? I don't have an answer. You got an answer? Tune into the live. Thanks for checking out Last Call Reacts once a week.